When I was little, my father was famous. He was the greatest samurai in the empire.
Hey everybody, I am Jerry Williams, aka Greater Sapien. Thank you for sharing your time with me. As this is my first official video on this channel, other than my introduction, I'm going to try to keep this relatively short. That's going to be the plan going forward. I figured if I can keep these relatively short, then maybe I can put these out a little bit more often and give you a little bit more content. It's also going to be more unscripted than my previous channel, regular Greater Sapien channel. I have some notes here about, some bullet points that I'm going to want to talk about, but there's not fully fleshed out scripts like I've done before. It's going to be more like a journal, talking about whatever I feel like talking about. There'll be some regular features. At least once a week, I'm going to try to put out a video of me, drawing, executing my art in some way. Probably a workout video, something to do with media, whatever nerdy thing is catching my fancy, movie reviews and such. And of course, there'll be politics. It's something that I care a lot about and I talk a lot about. More than anything, it's going to be an opportunity for me to do less on regular social media like Twitter and Facebook and things like that, and I'll just take notes of things that happen throughout the day that catch my eye, and I'll talk about them here instead of posting them and spending the time on Twitter and things like that. Now today, as I record this, the final Democratic Party debate has just completed. I watched well, I don't know if it's the final, but it's the final one before the Iowa caucuses. And I watched most of it. I am a Democrat. Thing is, there's been about 27 of these, and there's not much more I can learn about the candidates in these things here. It's mostly an opportunity for the media to try to get the candidates to fight amongst themselves, which in this case, the candidates really didn't rise to the bait and do, which is great because I am not interested in that, not in the slightest. I want Trump out of office. That's my main goal. I think he is the worst person to ever be president of the United States. Now, I know some people hear that and they go, how can you say he's the worst president? Look at the economy, look how things are going, even though they can't tell me a single thing that he's done that's helped those things. But I'm not talking about him as being the worst president. I'm talking about him being the worst person to be president. He is a depraved individual. He is corrupt to his core. Lying is his nature, and he is a narcissistic dirtbag. I think even his fans know that. Maybe they even like that about him, but that is what he is. I think he's a danger to the country because he is only concerned about his self-aggrandizement, and he's corrupt enough to get us into some serious trouble. So at minimum, I think he should lose the election. He should not be reelected. And if he's not just completely thrown out of office, because he has been impeached. Let's just face facts. You can say it was partial or whatever, partisan, but he has been impeached. And I think in a couple days, the House is going to be sending the articles over to the Senate. The question is, are there going to be witnesses allowed? Is it going to be a real trial? And now, I think right off the bat, the chances of him being convicted in the Senate is pretty slim. But if they don't have the votes to keep there from being witnesses, I think that changes the ball game. Because as time goes on, more and more evidence comes out. For example, just today, the more evidence was brought out. I guess Lev Parnas, what was on his phone and what he's turned in to prosecutors and things has come out, and that stuff is insane. I mean, it looked like Parnas and what was his name, Robert Hyde, had people following Ambassador Yovanovitch. She was being followed. And all her movements were being tracked, and they were reporting back on where she was. I'm like, and it even sounded like they quietly negotiating the possibility of like something happening to her, like a hit being put out on her or something. It was a trip. What the hell was going on there? This is Giuliani's guy. So that came out today. And then, then there was Giuliani's letter to Zelensky, where he basically said, I'm doing this, I'm going to come and meet with you as a representative of the president personally, because I'm his personal lawyer, and this is a personal matter, so I'm going to come and talk to you about that. Now, that completely contradicts the whole concept of everything having to do with Ukraine being about national security and about how corruption affects this country, when you have the president's legal representative saying, no, this is about personal things, personal deeds for the president. Now, is he going to throw Giuliani under the bus and say that, no, he's lying, this was all about the country, or what? I don't know. So that kind of corruption is insane. Now, there's some debate about whether or not, what Pelosi did in holding up the articles from going to the Senate was a wise move or not. Did she get what she needed out of it? But one thing that did come out of it was time. And as time goes on, more and more evidence of this president's corruption comes out. I think that is the best thing about holding off on the articles of impeachment, is that his corruption continues and we learn more. And it's going to get to a point, at least I think we're at that point now, where the evidence can't be ignored. And so unless they completely avoid it by voting to dismiss this impeachment, more evidence is going to come out. And if witnesses are shown and more evidence comes out, there's a possibility that some Republicans may go, okay, we can't ignore this. We can't ignore it. We'll just take our chances on what's his face? Pence. Okay, enough politics before this gets too long. Did you guys see this thing with this plane in Los Angeles going from LA to Shanghai that had to come in for an emergency landing, so it had to dump fuel over the city before landing? It's like real life chemtrails. Like, who'd have thunk that? Okay, well, there's some paranoid, cowardly fools who probably right now are celebrating the fact that a bunch of elementary school kids had fuel dumped on them because it somehow reaffirms the voices in their head that tell them they're right about these things. But other than them, who'd have thunk it? Now, there is a question about why this plane had to dump its fuel over the city as opposed to, say, circling over the ocean and dumping its fuel there. It came over the city and dumped its fuel over, and was low enough that people actually got exposed to it. But it's my main regret about this is this video is going to be used repeatedly by crazy fools that think this proves something about chemtrails. That's going to be the most annoying thing about this whole thing. And the fact that there might be some health ramifications for the fact that people had fuel dumped on them. That kind of sucks. Okay. This is getting a bit long, so let's sum this up because I am still a little bit under the weather. Let's see, I want to give a shout out to my new subscribers, everyone who came over from the old Greater Sapien channel. Thank you very much for coming, and shout out to people who came over from Hannibal and Monty. Number of people popped up over here from that. Thank you very much for your viewership. I appreciate it greatly. This channel is going to be different from my other Greater Sapien channel. It's going to be more personal. It's going to be more about my personal opinion, and it's not going to be about the whole science structure thing. And since this is a different platform, and I'm not constrained to the kind of impersonal science attitude about things, I can completely feel free to say my actual opinions about the flat earthers that I've come across, over these years. Every single one of the flat earthers, the moon landing deniers, every one that I've ever encountered, everyone that I've done a video on debunking, anyone that I've had an interaction with, they're just fucking morons. They're just pathetic, emotionally stunted people. And oftentimes I regret ever having interacted with them because I feel like a lesser person because of it. But at the same time, it's like, God damn, they need to be taught, or at least they can be used as a vehicle to teach other people. But they are some pathetic, sad suckers. Every last one of them. Anyway, that's my personal opinion, and that's what you'll get here. So with that, I'm going to be signing off. And those of you who are wondering what other differences there's going to be between this channel and my regular channel, the music's still going to stay the same. So with that, take care.
That's my job. That's what I do. I don't lose. I win. I win. Is there no one on this planet to even challenge me?